Hello from Georgia. I'm Chateau. I'm the founder of the Sector 3 Hub for Development and Executive Director at the CDD, which is the Center for Development and Democracy here in Georgia. I am a member of the steering committee of the World Movement for Democracy, and within the steering committee, it was my great pleasure and privilege to serve as a member of a subcommittee on democracy courage tributes for reviewing nominations and making final recommendations for the tribute recipients. It was a challenging but very rewarding process, learning about the inspiring, breathtaking work that our fellow civic activists are doing around the world. Movements that are on the front lines fighting for democracy and human rights, despite all the challenges, including pandemic. Democracy is in decline. Democratic spaces are shrinking almost everywhere in the world. But at the same time, we see so many courageous and sustained democratic movements in every corner of the world. And we want to take the moment to recognize and celebrate this resilient and movement of civil society activists that are around the world making amazing job. At every global assembly, the World Movement for Democracy gives a special recognition to democracy movements that have demonstrated extraordinary courage despite the challenges that they face. I had the pleasure to attend Democracy Tribute Award ceremonies in the past, which were truly the highlights of the assemblies as we stand together, empower each other, recognize and celebrate those important work that all our fellow civic activists are doing across the world, fighting for democracy and for a better world for everyone. Previous recipients of the tributes include several amazing groups like photojournalists in the Philippines, capturing images of extrajudicial killings, women's movements in Iran, advocates for the rights of the sexual minorities worldwide, investigative journalists in Africa. Well, along with the Herford Foundation, we are delighted to present 4 courage tributes at this global assembly. My fellow steering committee members, Ana Gomez of Portugal, Hassan Khan of Pakistan, Gina Romero of Colombia, Hans Stiepenhau of Haiti, and Maiko Ichihara of Japan will present this tribute for this year. Well, before presenting tributes, I now invite Jane Kurzman and Bob Miller of the Herford Foundation to make their brief remarks. Well, thank you all for attending, participation. I'm looking forward to seeing you all face-to-face soon when this pandemic is going to be over. Thank you, and let's move to Jane and Bob.
Hello, and greetings from New York City. I'm Jane Kurzman, and I have the honor of being on the board of directors of both the National Endowment for Democracy and the John B. Herford Foundation. The Herford Foundation has long been a supporter of the World Movement for Democracy and of its Democracy Courage Tribute Awards, which we are about to confer. I myself have had the privilege of attending 6 World Movement assemblies in person, and they have always been extraordinary experiences. I always come away from them with the utmost respect for the dedication, perseverance, and courage of so many of the participants. Indeed, there are previous participants who are in prison today because they challenged those in power and spoke the truth. And we always remember your colleagues who have paid the ultimate price as a result of their efforts promoting democracy and freedom. I am very sorry that we were not able to meet in person this year, but we still did manage to have a meaningful virtual program. I will, however, look forward to greeting you in person at the next assembly. In the meantime, whether virtual or in person, the Herford Foundation stands behind you, celebrates your achievements, and supports your ongoing efforts. I now have the pleasure of introducing my colleague, Robert Miller, who is the president of the John B. Herford Foundation and also a former NED board member.
It's an honor for me to greet you on behalf of the John B. Herford Foundation. John was an extraordinary man who first made his mark in the financial industry. He was a committed internationalist, a significant philanthropist, and a longtime board member of the National Endowment for Democracy. Together with Carl Gershman and others, he was instrumental in encouraging the NED to create the World Movement for Democracy. The Biennial Global Assembly of the WMD brings together leaders of democracy movements from all parts of the world to build solidarity and provide an opportunity to learn from one another. We at the Herford Foundation are very proud of our support for the World Movement, and in particular, its Herford Youth Fellowship Program. These fellowships are much sought after and provide youth democracy activists with leadership skills to prepare them to become global democracy leaders. Risham Wasim of Pakistan and Margarita Mayra of Chile, who spoke during the very first session of this global assembly, were Herford Fellows. And it's gratifying to see the leadership roles they play in their respective organizations. I, for one, believe it's critically important that young people of the democracy movement be given the essential skills and resources so that they are prepared when the time comes to lead the movement in a sustainable democratic transition. In past global assemblies, the Herford Foundation has hosted a dinner on the last day of the assembly to celebrate the participants' hard work and to recognize the extraordinary courage demonstrated by democracy movements operating in particularly difficult circumstances. I'm sorry that we cannot be together at that dinner as in the past to directly and not virtually assure you that the Herford Foundation stands with you. Please know that we celebrate your achievements and will continue to support your ongoing efforts on the front lines of freedom's struggles. Your work and courage are an inspiration that does not go unnoticed. I thank you for your attention and look forward to greeting you at the next Global Assembly in person.